So guys, here we are, man. This is a Matrix talk. I already did my 1 hour review on the channel, but I thought, just as part of as therapy, I
Yeah.
wanted to bring in some guys just to talk about this in this discussion. So we got your boy Pete Hemmingsley and your boy Infinity Limits and
Nah,
more.
it's not your boy. It's called the Right Honorable Peter Hemmingsley.
Sorry, the Right Honorable Pete Hemmingsley, aka POH,
Thank you so much.
and our dear Infinity's Limit man. So, guys, look, I think I don't even know where to start, but I think maybe the best place to start, I think, is maybe some responses that we've seen, because I think that we can all agree here that the film is garbage, and we'll go into details of how garbage the film is, but we can all agree that it's a horrible film, and personally for me, it is one of the worst films I've ever seen, hands down. It ranks at least top five worst films I've ever seen. Um, what because I've been on Reddit, I've been on Twitter and so forth, and I want to know, okay, what's people who are defending this, what are they saying? And a scary narrative that's going out there was this is like an FU to Warner Brothers. That's well, this isn't a theory. If Lana didn't make this, Warner would have gone ahead without her, which now I think maybe you should have. So they said this was an FU to Warner Brothers, and it was made bad on purpose because she was trying to basically show how we want are reboots, all we want are
Oh
sequels and stuff.
God.
So it's sort of like a meta kind of
Yeah,
explanation
yeah,
as to
yeah.
Mental
the
gymnastics.
yeah, basically the loss of stuff and everything. So
Uh,
and there are people, and it's one thing people from the road on Reddit saying this stuff. There are people from Hollywood Reporter, and reputable people who have tried to explain how this is a genius film. This is a genius film that sort of, again, that scary word, subverts our expectation for a sequel, and how it's a commentary on Hollywood and a commentary on blockbusters. And my only response to that is, whether it's a commentary on that or not, the product you've made is garbage. And the reason why that doesn't hold any weight, because if these are just guys theorizing for the sake of theorizing. I watched an interview with Lana Wachowski a few months ago where she said she made this film because of her parents dying, and Neo and, and Trinity comforted her. Not Morpheus, though. We'll get to Morpheus. Not Morpheus. For some reason, Morpheus didn't bring any comfort, but that's fine. But Neo and Trinity brought comfort. And obviously, she wanted us to cook up a story to bring back Neo and Trinity because before her parents' death, she didn't want to make any more of these sequels or so forth. Neither did Lily Wachowski again. So, um, but my thing though is I just think that you see this the scary thing, and I'll give it to Pete. The scary thing is I thought Revolutions was like a horrible film. Again, I thought like huge, massive disappointments, and I didn't think it was possible to make a film worse than Revolutions. Resurrections is so bad that I look back at Revolutions and like Revolutions is much better than this crap that I watched. Because my thing with Revolutions is you're watching it on the back of Matrix and Reloaded. If you watch Revolutions in a vacuum, not knowing anything before, that Sentinel attack is damn good. The visuals of Neo against the Smiths is damn good. So there are some scenes that are like, oh, this is actually a very good scene. Mifune is good. There is not a single scene of any worth. There's not a single sequence of any worth in this pile of crap known as Resurrections. So I think before I go give it to people right now, I just think that where we are right now is the Matrix as a franchise. As of right now, it's done because this film is so bad, it's so horrendous. I don't know how you go forth from here because the only people that will support this are the hardcore psychotic Uber fans. Those are the only guys that will somehow support us are the psycho Uber fans because there is no way to go from here because it's so bad, it's so crap. You've alienated the general public, or like, what is this crap? You've alienated some of the huge fans of it, who are like, no, this is the Matrix. I don't recognize it. So all you're left with are basically you're left with two groups of people: the hardcore, brain dead, brainless, idiotic superfans who will just accept anything Matrix, and the people who think they are cleverer than Einstein, and the super intelligent people who think that, oh my gosh, this is a meta huge. Those are the only groups of people, and if those are the only groups of people that you have, that's not that can't sustain a franchise. That can't sustain a franchise, because this ultimately, I just think that this is a horrible piece of work. And just lastly, again, if we were to break down how crap this is, from the idea of the first 30 minutes of the story of somehow looking at the previous film, which is stupid. Because my thing is, Lana Wachowski, if you want to make a commentary on Hollywood and so forth, don't use the Matrix. Write a freaking book or give an interview. Don't waste my time. Don't waste 2 hours of my time making a commentary on Hollywood. No, don't. If you're going to do that, tell me beforehand, so I don't watch this piece of crap. And my thing is to the action. Like, the action was horrendous, from how it was filmed, how it was choreographed, how it was put together was horrendous. And when we now learned that they didn't rehearse, there were hardly any rehearsals.
Oh my god, did not even know that.
Yeah, bro, no.
It
Told you, I have
shows.
been doing. People said that they would come on sets and they just do things, because they said that Lana has now changed. And here's the key thing. This is the key thing that was said, and I think it was by Neil Patrick Harris. So that's obviously when it was Larry and Andy, when they were guys, everything was storyboarded, everything was meticulous, and everything was very much organized. So there was a lot of pre-planning before anything was made. I said right now, where Lana is right now, is it's much more free, less planning, less storyboarding, and it's just much more free, human, emotional. Hence why we got that piece of crap that we saw, as opposed to the other films which are actually properly made. Pete.
Yeah, well, thanks for my inclusion in this chat. And, I have pushed off this chat because I'm basically on the verge of public retirement. And I think it's nice that this movie came out, because this, I think, closes the curtain on a long trajectory of things from, obviously way back here, I Phantom Menace. But then obviously beyond that, you then had your, Revolutions. Then you had Dark Knight. Then you had Force Awakens, all the way through to Rise of Skywalker, and now you have this. So I think this is like a nice conclusion to a long journey that a certain kind of fan has taken. Basically, there's a certain kind of fan that there's a certain kind of fan that I'm not even really sure how to explain it, But it's weird. I think because there's one thing that there's a exchange I had with Half Hope when The Dark Knight came out. And I think Half Hope made a comment to me when we went to watch it that the thing is that Chris Nolan needs to basically come and talk to some people tonight in where we saw it in IMAX Waterloo, because he doesn't really understand what this stuff he's doing is. And I think that George Lucas doesn't really understand what he's doing is. And I think that the Wachowskis don't really understand what they're doing. I think that when a artist creates something, because I believe that George Lucas resents A New Hope. And I think that the Wachowskis, they resent, well, at least this Wachowski resents The Matrix 1. Because these films where there's same as I think Michael Jackson resented Thriller and Off the Wall. He wants to be dangerous. That's what Michael Jackson wants to be. Lana Wachowski wants to be Resurrections. George Lucas wants to be Phantom Menace. That's what they want. They resent these things because they represent a certain side of themselves that, was basically, how would I put it? Look, let me have a think. I mean, keep going around infinities and Charles. I just want to have a think about a few things because I think I really am done. Anyway, continue.
I mean, before I come to infinity, I think you are hitting onto something, but I really do feel that it is a much larger extent for Lana. Again, I can't speak for the but for Lana. Phantom Menace is not that far removed from A New Hope. It is, but not that far. Dangerous is not that far removed from Thriller. It is, but not that far. Resurrections and Matrix 1 and Reloaded are from different planets.
No, I see. No. And I see you're only saying that because you've been affected by it personally. If you look at it dispassionately, there's categorical DNA in every Matrix film because it's the person that made the Matrix 1. Phantom Menace is exactly the same kind of deviation and deterioration from A New Hope to Phantom Menace that you see in Resurrections to what you call it. Because you're not going to go, into the philosophy, the psychology. In terms of the actual workmanship, the elements there, the nature of things, of course, you can see the DNA. The same as you can see in the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, no, like the DNA, that is sort of automatic because the person is still the same person. Of course, an element of the DNA will be there. But my thing is that this is something that people will not want to comment. And when I say this, it's not in any derogatory manner. It's in no negative manner. It's just what I think is factual. But again, if you say this to some people who are sensitive, they're like, "Oh," but it's just something that is factual. We cannot deny the impact of someone going from a man to a woman and how that's affected them. I said in my review, because Pete told me this years ago about the Red Hot Chili Peppers, that probably their best album, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, they made it while they were on drugs. So to deal with that conflict of that being on drugs. And every album that they made afterwards, they've been fully sober, fully happy, but it's just not been as good.
Not quite. They were higher on drugs for 1 hot minute. And in fact, they were so high on drugs that why they had to go to rehab after that one.
Oh, wow. Actually, it shouldn't really be laughing like that's actually like a bad thing.
Yeah, like I think Anthony Kiedis, he almost died, and in fact, John Frusciante, he couldn't make the album because he was basically dead. So they had to bring in Dave Navarro from James. And Dave Navarro actually came and he actually smashed it, which is why John Frusciante got jealous and he started becoming even more of a dick than he's always been. But point being that basically they were actually higher on drugs in 1 hot minute than they were on that. And things like 1 hot minute is actually good. It's just that it's not really a Chili Peppers album because Frusciante isn't on it. But point being is that at the end of the day, I'm just saying that when you look at Resurrections, I would defy anyone to tell me that Resurrections is a badly made film because it's not. The film I watched was a movie that shows me that Lana Wachowski is one half of the Matrix. And what I saw in that movie is one half of a very self-indulgent Matrix film. Because there were elements in that I said that I can see why these people made the Matrix. Because in a lot of these, your action sequences, they're not done very well. They're not done to the standard of even Revolutions. But I've seen so many people try and do this crap since you guys made those 3 films. And your stuff still looks better than everything these people have done. Even when you have those zombies dropping out of the glass at the end, or you had
Keanu, and look at the way they shot when they jumped off that building at the end. It's such a basic shot, but it feels so much better than anything I've seen in Spider-Man or anything. It feels like these guys are really high up in the middle of nowhere. I don't know how she's achieved it. I don't know what the technique is, but the way these people do what they do is better than everybody else, which is why they really are the source. Everything changed after Matrix 1. I cannot take that away from them because that is in their DNA. But what I'm seeing is so lacking because this is only half the story. You're only half of the completed elements, and your own half is highly compromised and rotted by your ego. So the point I was making about how they see themselves, there was a clip that was shared in the Talkback chat on Facebook, and I said that, I don't know, I think it was Val that sent it. And I said that there's a big clue, and I can't find the thing now, the interview now, because at the heart of all this issue, this problem that we've had with this film, is, I said it to Half Up, I said it in the group chat, about you've got an agenda. Part of your agenda is twofold. One part is emasculation of the male patriarch, which is very boring, but everybody, it's like the current craze. And the second issue is that you're determined to impose your change on all of us. And you want to basically go and use the one thing you've done that has global relevance to impose. So it's the same thing that Kathleen Kennedy is doing, only that Kathleen Kennedy has no right to do it. But Kathleen Kennedy is trying to impose her crap, her beliefs about women and all that, even though Kathleen Kennedy doesn't give a damn about women. Kathleen Kennedy is just a regular woman in the business world who has been given this thing. And the thing does not interest her in the slightest. She has no interest in this stuff. Oh, but how can she get involved in this? Okay, I'll do United Nations, because that's what really interests me, going and making speeches and wearing suits. So I'll try to just bring that into this, because therefore I'll actually have something to do every day when I come into the office. Lana Wachowski, your issue is that you want to ram down your transgenderism down everybody's throat. And you want to force people to come to terms with the fact that you had to go through so much pain and so much victimization and all that rubbish to give these idiots this rubbish that they want, which is all these guys jumping about and yada yada. Because you resent Morpheus, you resent Smith, because they represent all the stuff that was forcing you to repress yourself when you're making those films. And this is, and you're using your own film as a kind of revenge vehicle against everything that suppressed you when you're making. Because look at all their interviews; they were never happy. It doesn't take the brain of Britain to see that in all their interviews. They did it under duress. They did it under duress, and now you're basically getting revenge on your own product because you feel you were in the way that George Lucas was getting revenge on people insulting him after Empire Strikes Back. He used
and a very key point that where you're making, and this even further illustrates why Lily Wachowski didn't want to make it. It now makes sense because Matrix is two of them, literally two of them are hand in hand. So the fact that Lily Wachowski was like, no, I don't want to go back. I've moved on, which means that no, Lana, you shouldn't be making another Matrix, and that's the whole point. Based on where you are in your life and how you transition and so forth, you are not in a headspace to make another one because Lily knows that no, based on what has happened, how I've now gone from man to woman, losing both of my parents, I'm just not in a headspace to go back and make that. I just can't. Creatively, psychologically, I can't do that. So really, Lana, you shouldn't be doing it because Matrix only works with it's both of you. It's like if you're doing another big Lebowski, Joel Cohen, you can't do it by yourself. You have to do it. It's you and Ethan Cohen, because that's in the basket is
basically the point I'm making now, which might be, because what I'm trying to get at, which might be a bit controversial, which I would not want to say in public, is that, and that's why I keep saying about you're trying to ram the transgenderism down our throats and the emasculation down our throats, is that I believe that if Lana Wachowski wanted to make a proper Matrix, she could. The point I'm trying to say, and I'll just say it bluntly, is that you're trying to force the issue that you're a different person because the film you made makes no sense. You're just trying to you're trying to validate your change by using something that is supposed to have been you to show, oh, this was so not me. Look at how I really am. That was so not who I am. This is who I really always was. And you're using Matrix to do that. And thinking that somehow you can then eradicate the old thing and validate yourself through this, because you don't want to accept that it was that other, it was what you were forced to be that made Matrix. Not what you want to be, what you were forced to be. George Lucas, what you were forced to be when you were living out of your trailer with your wife, Marcia Lucas, and you couldn't afford a meal, you were forced to make A New Hope. When you now want to indulge yourself, you deliver the rubbish that is Crystal Skull and Phantom Menace. Sylvester Stallone, what you were forced to be when you were living out of your house and you had about 70 quid that you keep telling everybody $70 in your pocket, or was it $200, was Rocky. When you were nothing, you had to make Rambo 1. When you now want to be who you want to be, you make Expendables. That's the reality of, that's what all these people are. It just keeps going right. It's the same whole cycle. The pattern is all the same. What Lana Wachowski is doing is what George Lucas did. It's what Sylvester Stallone did. All these people, they get to a point where you resent the fact. And I tell everybody that this is about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, there's a part of him that he resents Thriller. He resents. That's why he doesn't perform. That's why he never performed those songs. And part of that was reflected in his physical form, how he resented being black. He resented that, what he perceived as ugliness. He resented that world that objectified him. He resented that world that forced him to do this kind of singing, do this sort of dancing. He resented all of that. And when he now has his chance, he does everything to go in the complete and total. He deletes Quincy Jones. He deletes he goes in a completely different direction just to try to validate something. And just like all these people do, what are they doing now? As you say with the Matrix, everybody is hiding behind these fake, idiotic people who are saying how great it is. Same as Michael Jackson, you hide behind all these weirdo fans who cry and faint when they see you, and they think everything you do is fantastic, because you know you can never stand up. Same as George Lucas. What does he say? Oh, it's all about the kids, really. Oh, forget about all these older fans. Oh, they're just living in the back. It's all about the kids, really. It's the same pattern over and over and over again. The people who made you who you were, you resent them. And you think you can find solace in sycophants, fakes, last weekend fans, because that is what they're so good at. The last weekend fans, they will die for you because it's all fake. It's all part of their fantasy. But tomorrow, let this same as Star Wars, all these little pieces, oh yeah, we love Rey. Where were they for the last film? The movie barely beat a billion. Let Lana Wachowski bring out another film and see how many of all these people go and watch it. All the people that say, it's fantastic, it's glorious, we love it. Bring another film out in the same vein as this and see. That movie will not make 20 million. It's finished.
Infinity.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me here in this group therapy session. I've always held Matrix 1 as probably one of my, if not the best, like sci-fi action movie. Beaten only by T2 because of Arnie, but that's about it. So when they first announced that they were going to make this thing, I was very skeptical because, like we were talking earlier about the track record, like pretty much every movie after like the first Matrix has kind of declined in quality. Like I liked Reloaded and I liked Revolutions, but not as much as Reloaded. So you can kind of get like a pattern of how things were going. So I kind of kept my eye on the Wachowskis because I was always interested in the way they did their films. So I was like, oh, let me check out their next movie. And every time I did that, I noticed that the movie kind of left me kind of cold, like kind of disappointed. So when the trailer came out for this, it actually looked good. So I was a bit confused. I was like, maybe, who knows? Maybe after 20-something years, they're going back to what made them famous in the first place. Maybe it's what they're best at doing. Some of the footage looked pretty good. It seemed like they were going in a direction of making some sort of unique movie whereby they're going to create some second timeline, some second Neo, some kind of interesting way they're going to overlap the realities. And I had doubt in me because I'm like, you know what? If there's ever a movie that's going to come out and going to try to do this sort of like the way that Force Awakens kind of did this whole like, let's redo the first movie. I think The Matrix is actually kind of a good fit for that because of the fact that you're dealing with a fake reality. You can sort of do what you want. You can change things here and there because at the end of the day, it's a program. So there's room there to kind of create a really interesting movie if it was done correctly. What I saw that night when it came out, I kept saying to myself, what is this? What am I watching? I had to grab myself because I wasn't sure if I was watching the right movie. Like I stopped 30 minutes in and I texted half of them. I'm like, what is this?
Oh God.
Because it was so like the way that this movie felt to me watching it, it felt like a made for TV parody at times. Like there are scenes in this movie where like I'm watching it and I literally cannot believe that this is a Matrix film. And so, I mean, there's that. When you started to get into the action of the movie, The Matrix 1 had some of the most groundbreaking action sequences ever put to film.
Yep.
Matrix Reloaded has one of the greatest chases I've ever seen in my life.
And don't forget Chateau. Don't forget Chateau.
Chateau is one of the greatest fight choreography scenes I've ever seen in my life. So I was watching it and I'm like, okay, the action's about to pop off. Oh, here we go. And it never popped off. Every single scene. Oh, here we go. And it just fell flat every single time. It felt like watching an action sequence by someone that never, either like they forgot how to do action, or they've never done it before,
or both.
Or both.
It's a new person.
But I couldn't believe that. So there's parts in this movie where they try to sort of have like they try to make it meta, whereby Neo is seeing scenes from the first movie in the movie. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, so if Neo is watching a scene of himself in a movie, how is he seeing himself as himself in a movie? Because if it's from memory, if you like recalling something from your memory, you don't see yourself on a screen as yourself. So that was kind of weird. So I mean, I don't know, man. Like the story just didn't go anywhere. Like a lot of the action was bad. The storyline was bad. There was stuff in this thing that I just could not believe, man. Like they sunk to this level, man. But to go on with Phantom Hope was saying, like there was stuff in this where like you can tell that some of it was actually kind of good. It just wasn't enough. Like it just missed the mark. Like it wasn't enough. That's all I have to really say about it. I mean,
All right, no, we'll get into this because I want to talk about Morpheus specifically. So chosen one, man. Talk to me, man.
Yeah, so I commend you guys. You've broken it down beautifully. Let me start off by saying I am not a Matrix fan at all. I am someone who appreciates the first film and recognizes it as a classic, 10 out of 10, one of the best films, if not the best science fiction movie of my lifetime. And how far we have fallen. Just going off of the eye test, and I believe I mentioned this in a talk with the Merc last week. Even if we're talking about agendas, and to POH's point when he mentioned you want to show people that you're different now and that this is the real you, and I don't even think they did that well, to be honest. I am genuinely struggling to see why this film was made. I mentioned this on my page, where I'm rereading comments from individuals as far as what this film is going to, what they're promising this film is going to bring when it's finally released. And shame on them. My God. I mean, I respect Jodie Foster immensely now.
I saw it on your page, and I was actually googling. What do you mean by Jodie Foster? Like, what did she say?
Yeah, I didn't hear that either.
So her comments regarding why she decided not to come back and do Hannibal after Silence of the Lambs, she disagreed with where her character went. And she didn't hold back either. She wasn't rude about it, but she was very upfront and honest. And I feel that it's just, this kind of goes back to, something that POH brought up with that video where Lana and Carrie and a group of crew members were crossing some street. I believe it was in New York. I don't know what city it was. And I believe I knew where POH was going, which is why I said it. I said, well, look at Carrie's face. Carrie didn't want to be there. I mean, she did her best to hide it. And to have Hope's point in that same discussion, he said earlier, she's not that good of an actress, which is why I saw that look on her face. See, I think we got here, honestly, gentlemen, because to some degree, because people are not being honest. People are just going with the flow, lying to lie, ignoring what's right in front of them, not calling things like they are, and products are suffering because of it. I was not shocked that this film was as bad as it was, because
Sorry, can I just say something very quickly? I mean, in terms of asking why the film was made, I said that, in my opinion, if Lana Wachowski says she's changed,
yes.
Who cares? Who cares?
Yes.
Nobody cares.
Wait, Pete, is there like a fan or something? Because there's like some background noise coming from. I don't know whether it sounds like a fridge or like a fan or something.
No, I can find. But anyway, look, just want to point very quick, and I'll into it. All I'll say is that if she changes, nobody cares. But if you make a Matrix film that's freaked out, everybody asks, why is this so freaked out? And then everybody cares.
You said, and then everybody cares?
And then everybody cares. Because they want to know, why am I watching this rubbish? Because it's made by the one Wachowski. And why is that? Because she's changed.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that. I agree with those questions are being asked and that revelation is made. But I wouldn't go as far as to say that people care that she's different now.
No. People don't care that she's different, but people care about why is this Matrix so bad, and therefore people have to now be made aware that she is a different person and she's trans.
So that now becomes part of every Matrix, part of the world's conversation.
But they are not linking the fact that she's trans to the point where to why this film was so bad. They wouldn't dare do that. They're not doing
No. I'm not talking about looking for someone to blame. I'm talking about somebody wants attention brought to themselves. They want attention brought to the fact that they're trans.
Yes.
If you just become trans, nobody cares. If you want attention, that's why I put the analogy of Kathleen Kennedy with all her rubbish. If you want attention brought to you, she's basically used the one thing she's done that everybody cares about, and used that to force people to at least become aware that she has changed. You don't need to care about it. You don't need to like it. You can hate it. It doesn't matter. But the fact that you want the attention, people to be made aware that you are trans.
I agree.
And the only way you can do that is to fuck up the Matrix. And she knows that, and she did that, and she has been successful at it.
Agreed. Yes, I agree with everything that you said. I'm kind of lost where I was going initially, but look, I'm not surprised the way this thing went, because franchise after franchise after franchise they've just systematically destroyed it. And some of those franchises were mentioned by other people when they were speaking. So, wasn't shocked. I seriously doubt they'll come back and do another one. I think it's really dead now.
Oh, it's over.
And I don't know.
Chosen, let me ask you something though, because when you saw the trailer, were you at all interested? Because I saw some scenes in that trailer where I was like, oh, this might actually be an interesting movie.
Well,
I don't know, man.
I don't know if I would go as far as to say this would be an interesting movie. There was sort of a light spark of intrigue when they were with the early trailers, when they were talking about how the blue pill, and you sort of piece together in your mind that it's suppressing this Neo and they're trying to get him out, and you don't know much. That's when I had a little bit of intrigue. But as the information started to, come out with more trailers and TV,
yes.
then it's like,
most definitely,
I'm out.
Early on, though, I think I actually started to see some pretty cool stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this might actually be good." But then it kind of just went away, and when we started to see more and more and more and more, and just, oh Jesus, yeah.
So, I want to talk about Lawrence Fishburne, because which is why this image is so apt. This image is so okay because this image is linked to Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes, it is.
So here's the thing. This is where people need to get real. Keanu Reeves is a horrible actor. He's one of the worst actors in Hollywood history. Carrie Ann Moss is not a very good actress. She's decent. She's not great. Matrix 1 was held together by 2 actors. You could maybe say 3, because you could maybe argue Gloria Foster, but she only had one scene, but it was an amazing scene. But it was held together by Lawrence Fishburne and Hugo Weaving.
Yes.
Keanu Reeves is the vapid hero. You see, if Brandon Lee didn't die and Brandon Lee was cast, you have a different film.
Oh my God, dude.
You have a very different film. Because see, this is what I try to explain to them, because people say, oh no, but Keanu Reeves, he's good because he's no. Keanu Reeves is a trash actor. He just looks good. Because when you just look at his face and his body type, it looks like a drawing in a comic book. But as an actor, he's garbage. That first Matrix film was held together by Lawrence Fishburne's acting.
Yep.
Lawrence Fishburne was the backbone, the meat and bones, and the spine of that film. Carrie Ann Moss and Joe Pantoliano and all these guys, they were just supporting pieces that played important supporting pieces. They were just supporting pieces.
Strong, though.
And this is the key thing. And I even said to my friend about, I think, Faisal, that you guys know Faisal, he's just like me, Matrix fanatic. He said, bro, that love story was weak. The weakest part of it was that because the film does so many things well, we put that to one side, but you know that you compare that love story to even the little bits of kind of spark that you had between Luke and Leia until you find out blah blah blah. But my thing that love story was weak. They didn't have any chemistry. Like the chemistry wasn't there. But because the sci-fi was so good, the philosophy was so good, the action was so good, what this film was doing was so good, the scenes were so good, we just said, okay, yes, he loves her, she loves him, blah blah. We just took it for granted, but it was weak.
Yeah.
So the real source of that first film was Hugo Weaving's extremely interesting take on a villain, which was very unique and very fresh, and Lawrence Fishburne's incredible acting.
Yep.
So when we now see Resurrections, I find it funny that guys are saying, man, I'm like, I didn't know Keanu Reeves was such a bad actor. You're seeing it now because there's no Lawrence Fishburne. There's no Hugo Weaving. So because there's no Hugo Weaving and Lawrence Fishburne, and all you're left with is Keanu and Carrie Moss,
It just exposes him.
is now exposed.
That's a good point.
So my thing is, you now wanting to carry, because first, look, Neo shouldn't come back. Because obviously when we get into this afterwards, but if you're making a new Matrix, Neo is dead, Trinity dead, they shouldn't be coming back. Either you want to do a prequel of the previous ones, either you want to do a standalone story like the second Renaissance, or you're doing a film about a new Matrix, people taking blue pills, and how it's harder to free minds in 2021 than it is in 1999.
Dude,
and why more people will now choose to stay in a Matrix in a 2021 world as opposed to a 1999 world. That's where you should now be going. So you're now expanding the story where the blue pill makes more sense than the red pill.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much you can do with that. Such an interesting concept.
You put that to one side. Morpheus. I think something is up. Because my thing is, they wanted to bring Hugo Weaving back. The reason why Hugo Weaving didn't come back was due to COVID and scheduling. That was it. But Hugo Weaving was going to come back, but they couldn't do it because of scheduling. They last Lawrence Fishburne. And Lawrence Fishburne said that because people say, "Oh, he died in the Matrix Online game." So
No.
Bro, they asked Lawrence Fishburne, "So what's going on with the Matrix?" He said, "I have no idea. I've not heard anything."
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't know whether he's dead. He knew nothing. There was no contact. And here's the thing: a director isn't bound by telling an actor that, "Hey, you're not going to come back." You're not bound. But this is a thing about class and appreciation, because it goes to the point that Pete made. If you really liked that first film, you appreciated what he did, and you specifically appreciated what Lawrence Fishburne did, then you would know that no, Morpheus is a big deal. To the point where Yahya Abdul-Mateen said on the following that, "Hey, look, man, don't call me the new Morpheus, because Matrix fans get really upset thinking that I replaced Lawrence Fishburne." Because when that trailer got released, guys were like, "Where's Morpheus?" Because that's buy one, get 8 free, Walmart's on the road, backyard, basement level Morpheus, corporate Morpheus. It ain't Morpheus. I don't know what that is. Okay, so, and on the side notes, I'm actually happy Lawrence Fishburne didn't come, because of Fishburne, you missed a bullet. But I'm just trying to think that, do you really feel that a Matrix film can be carried by Keanu Reeves and Carrie Moss? Yeah, you may like these characters, but you really believe that Matrix 1, the key to Matrix 1 was Keanu Reeves and Carrie Moss?
I don't think it can be carried by them. What you would have to do is surround them with people who could carry the film.
Oh yeah, of course,
exactly.
Yeah. So actually, let me come to Peter. I mean, where do you stand in the whole Lawrence Fishburne Morpheus thing? Oh, yeah, we go.
Can you still hear the whizzing?
No, actually, it's actually silent.
I feel that if you ask me that, how do I feel? Obviously, it's ridiculous. I mean, look, I told you before, so I rejected that this isn't Matrix, it's not real, it's not, and like all that's rejected. But the point I made to you, and the point I made to everybody on the Facebook page, is that about 2 weeks ago, was that there's an emasculation agenda here. I said that 2 weeks ago. You know that, Chosen One knows that. And that's exactly what you saw. And what I saw was worse than what I actually thought was going to happen. And the reason and what you've seen, And what you saw there is like you've taken away Hugo Weaving and you've made Hugo Weaving basically gay. And you've got a guy that, did you see the suits the guy was wearing? The guy had like platform socksless shoes with
and like sunshades and
I'm just like like what the hell is this supposed to mean? Like, then you have one of the guys in the team saying that, oh, he thinks Neo isn't as gorgeous as he should be with the beard, just to let us know that he's gay. Then you have Scooby-Doo pants, Sinbad, Bugsy, hugging that other person at the end to show that they're probably in a relationship. Okay, Lana, thank you. Everybody is now gay or LGBT. And Morpheus has become some kind of freak. I don't know what. I don't know what the hell that. Like, that. How do you find a unique black guy, who somehow manages to look daft in a suit? Which I think is because that's quite unique. Like
the hallway.
Because I haven't really come across an actor that actually looks stupid in a suit. You've given him this weird shoulder pads, a weird belt that comes too high up his. It's just a mess. He looks like a mess, and he behaves like he's a mess. So my thing is that I completely accept gay, straight, trans, everything. I completely respect and believe in everybody being included completely. But my point is that don't change what Smith is. Don't change what Morpheus is. Smith has a particular vibe. You can't change that and turn him into this idiot in this stupid clothes. You can't do that. And then you got Bugsy Sinbad running around. I meant to believe that little mouse is in charge of anything. That little mouse is meant to be in charge of anything. And then you're now going to come and tell me that Niobe is now the linchpin? No. You see, for me, it's that you can. I know my point about.
But look at how they explained Morpheus, but that's starts.
No, but let me ask you something, HH. You know that as of now, because I was just sitting down in the movie saying, okay, you're going to now try to have your cake and eat it. You're not going to try to tell me that somehow Neo's the part 3, that trilogy was worth it, but somehow they're back in the same place. Now, can somebody explain this to me? It's been 60 years since Neo apparently did what he did in Revolutions. Why are they still running around in alleys in little ships like Nebuchadnezzar? Why are they happy that they're able to grow plants like they're babies? Why, like it's like Terminator 2 Judgment Day? Why exactly don't we have like an international skyscraper next-gen metropolis that was built between the humans and the machines when there was peace? Why did they not?
Too much work.
Yeah, like why did they not move forward in 60 years? I know that they never actually gave us a good, because they said, oh, at a point we saw machine fighting machine because they ran out of energy. So we now saw them having their, okay, fine. So when they had their war, why were humans then put into the, put into the Matrix? Why do they now, if you ever had a type, as you can see, you have those sentients, you have those machines who work hand in hand. So obviously there must be a lot of machines who, whoever was fighting the other people would be the friends of the humans. You can't have two machine enemies against the humans. So they would have had one ally in that machine war. And if you're with any machine ally, why are you living like rats? These are machines who can build the most amazing cities, the most amazing accommodation. Why are you living in rags like rats? These are machines that have been able to find out ways to, as we can see, create plants and fruits and strawberries in a world that has no sun, but they can't help you get better clothes. You're wearing the same clothes we saw in Revolutions. It's the same thing as you saw in Star Wars, where they had another empire and another bad people, because people, they're not really thinking about the Matrix. you're not really thinking about the story. You're just using what is already there to actually serve you. It's about Lana Wachowski. It's about Kathleen Kennedy. It's about J.J. Abrams trying to sell merchandise. He's chucking his new robots in because he's bought shares in Disney and he can't use any of Lucas's characters. So he needs his new character. That's all you care about. And how can we oil this machine? Okay, let's just get Chewie can come back, but Chewie looks exactly the same. Solo can come back, but it's got exactly the same because he had 9,000 years ago. You're back in the Matrix, and they're running around underground in their little ships like it is 60 years ago. That makes absolutely no sense. And the crazy thing is that in your film, you have not explained to me why human beings who made peace with the machines are still living underground or in that bizarre habitat city that looks like Zion off the side of cliffs, like you're refugees. Why? Does anybody care? Am I stupid? Like, can somebody tell me why?
Because that takes energy, man. It takes thinking, it takes energy, it takes time, it takes creativity. And that's too much.
Okay, but in Infinity's Limit, does it? Okay, what I just said now is like, is it really a leap of... Would you not think that after the peace, people started to rebuild? Is that...
No, but you have to understand who you're dealing with. Lana Wachowski, that stuff, she doesn't give a damn about the stuff. All she cares about is Neo and Trinity and this love story and them coming back together and making Trinity super powerful. So all this other stuff is like, oh yeah, there has to be a real world. Okay, yeah. Oh, like there's a civil war. Okay, yeah. But really, it's about this.
No, because it's a much incredible thing because I watched a film that did not explain to me why they were in the situation they were in. You did not fully explain to me why they wound up all the way back there from where they were in Revolutions.
No, because my thing is that this film, it negates everything that was done in all those three films. Everything that was done in those three films, it's been negated.
Not really half of, because that's where she's trying to be clever.
With the whole thing of they're working with the machines.
Exactly. She's trying to be clever, and she actually put it's almost basically there's so much exposition. We're going all the way back to the Matrix. Wow. Then you have Niobe going, no, it wasn't all a waste. Look at the piece we now. So she's putting everything in everybody's mouth to say that basically, no, we're not on, because you are undoing what he did. But you think you're clever by saying, no, we're not, because look, we have people that say, oh, really? Then if you have peace with the machines, why do you not show that in the technology? Why do you not show what would it really be like if man and machine came together? They would be living in a new age megalopolis, not on the edge of a cliff. That looks exactly the same as Zion.
Oh, Jesus. It's not even good makeup.
No, like for me, like it so went over my head that after I watched the film, oh, guys, did you watch the after credits?
Oh, I didn't know there were after credits.
Nope.
Did you watch the after credits?
Oh God! I saw it on YouTube. But is it the one where they're in the office talking about some rubbish?
Catrix.
Yeah, like what the heck is that?
So basically, in the after credits, there is a group of people, just like you saw in the first 30 minutes, who are saying that about how to continue the Matrix. It says, they say, oh, do you know what's really popular right now? Cat videos. And yeah, we should really do, the next thing should be Catrix.
You're kidding
That's
me.
after
credits. Yeah, okay, but come on, that's just meant to be a cool joke, and we're also
can you understand the kind of trash this is?
Like,
yeah, but
like, what is this?
That is unbelievable.
As Infinity, so as Chosen One said, why do you think I kept sending that dance video in the streets, that street dance video? The reason I kept yes, you can laugh, but the reason what I was trying to suggest with the street dance video is what you saw in the Catrix. Lana Wachowski is trying to tell you that she's hip and she's cool and she's happening and she's not that sad, repressed, nerdy, geeky person that was, objectified and suppressed in 1999. That's it.
Mm.
That's it. That's why you're doing those dances in the streets. Oh, we're so haha. Then you make a film that laughs at Matrix, laughs at how geeky it is, and then you try to be very philosophical and very romantic and talk about the more adult themes about life. And I'm like, I'm like,
so can I just ask you guys, because I'm confused. What was this character? Like, I know, like, forget that clown in the back with the blue hair. This clown in the foreground. Because I know who that clown was in the background.
What,
but this
Sinbad?
clown in the foreground, like
Sinbad.
No. I know who Sinbad is. I'm talking about this clown in the foreground with the shades.
Just look at him, man. I mean, just look at him.
No. Do you know when I knew that something was up? You know when he basically takes her into one of the rooms, and then she basically hugs him, and then it's like sort of like stop motion, and he basically starts like going, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, okay, all right, and now okay. No, but my thing is that what is he? Because he's a mixture of Morpheus and so Neo created a program called Morpheus, so that program would then find him.
Look. Let me tell you a secret, Half-Up, because you know that Morpheus he's like a sentient in the real world or something. Somebody made this point online that because this was how I felt during the thing. I'm like, don't try to get clever, Lana. The truth is that I know that this story you're telling me does not make sense. I know it doesn't make sense. I know it's not, it's just so complicated that you need to go, no. There's a point I was trying to follow the plot. Then when they started bringing in this, it's not real. Then this one, he made this and he made the game. But in the game, he really made him. So he could, this is all rubbish. And it doesn't make sense. But you think because it's the Matrix, if you use enough exposition, then you use enough imagery and use enough, and yet again, so here we are. Yep, so here we are. But it didn't happen like this. As long as you just keep chucking a bit of deja vu, sprinkle it, mix that with a little bit of, nostalgia, then somehow we'll believe this is all very deep. And no. How this story is more complex than the Matrix part. Matrix Part 1 was bloody basic.
It's not that complicated.
Okay,
maybe the first time when you see it, but when you watch it again, you're like, oh no, let's say it's
no. And that I tell everybody whenever I'm telling an argument with people about Chris Nolan, I use Matrix 1 when it's about Tenet. And I have this argument with the Merc. Nobody understands how people share each other's dreams, and nobody cares. Same as I've said with this to you today. These guys are living like hobbits, like they lived in revolutions, and nobody cares. So that's in Matrix Part 1. Morpheus tells you exactly how they plug into the Matrix via a pirate signal, blah, blah, blah. It is explicitly said, this is what is going on. This is how we do it.
The setup was so good in that movie. Just the way everything was explained.
and that is it. But here we've got, Niobe just spewing stuff. Do you remember how much information that guy, was it Patrick Harris, pumped out in that bullet time scene?
That is when I said, okay, this.
No, that was like I'm sorry, that is called the most you should do when they teach writing to people, they should use that scene.
Yeah.
This is called unprofessionalism to the Nolanth degree.
Yeah, it's like I'm not telling you exactly what this is about.
No, this is a thesis. This is like a lecture, a philosophy like this man spends five minutes just talking to you. And then it comes but I'm like, jeez, this can't be right, man. Basically, in that scene, Lana Wachowski is desperately trying to tell you how deep and complicated this film is in one scene. Like, how are we even meant to get our brains? Okay, basically, we're just meant to accept. See, that's ex machina, whatever you call it. You want me to just accept that somehow he can use Neo's bullet time against him? Somehow. We don't know how, but he can. We're just meant to believe that Neo snapped out of his malaise. He remembered who he was, but somehow he couldn't fight anymore and he couldn't fly. But then somehow, when it became convenient at the end of the film, he could fly again. But when he could fly again, he now stands behind Trinity, and Trinity does all the talking. But you're not going to tell us why Trinity can now fly and why Trinity is now in the driver's seat. You're just not going to tell us. What the heck am I watching? because as I said, Neo could fly because you told us he was the one, but you haven't got the balls to tell us that Trinity is the one. So please explain to me why Trinity can fly.
Look, just look at this image. Just look at this image. Like, basically, this signifies this film. This was the ending to a Matrix film.
Okay, guys, do you realize that we watched, and this is another point that nobody has really sort of, really just sort of emphasized, that you realize that from the beginning to the end of this film, we watched a film a bit like Wolverine, that Logan movie. We watched a film where Neo was struggling from the beginning to the end.
Oh, I know where you're going. I know where you're going with this.
You showed him at the beginning with a beard. So basically, because I kept thinking that, why does he look like John Wick? Why does he look like John Wick? Why does he? Then when I saw the film and I came out, it kind of clicked. Lana Wachowski doesn't. The same reason why James Cameron made Sam Worthington so decrepit as a human being, because he doesn't want the audience to feel something is dead when he becomes blue, when he chucks away his body. Why is he is so downbeat, he's so sullen, that's what I guess I call him Jake Sully. Whatever. The guy is so sullen, he's so depressed, he's so blue, my life is nothing. Then he's alive when he's blue. Yeehaw! Then he just chucks that body away. And the audience themselves are actually relieved that he's chucked that body away, even though you've actually killed your human self. We're watching something that from the beginning, you've presented Neo in such a decrepit, dead, depressed. Even when he comes back into the human world, he's down, he's low, he's nothing. That by the time Trinity comes and saves everything, you don't feel anything. Like she isn't like taking over from anybody. She is the person. Because there's nothing there. Like the presentation of Neo from beginning till the end is rubbish. Even when he's using his powers to move things about.
Yeah, just forcing. No, did you know that like someone said this in a video? He never fires a firearm. He never takes a gun.
That's a crazy thing.
He's
never not at no moment does he ever use a firearm.
He is struggling. He's struggling. That the key about Neo in this side, from the beginning till the end, he's struggling. And his final struggle, every time he's even using those, the missiles, it's not easy. He's straining to change that missile trajectory or to do that thing. And his final failure was he actually jumped to his death because he couldn't fly.
Yeah, he couldn't fly. Yeah.
So his final action was a fail. So by the time you see this scene, you expect him to be behind her. Because he's a failure. He's a failure.
This goes back, that video that has to keep playing. Like, because they rejected it. That's because you see now. I don't want to be rude. But I don't care because we're here now. I don't think Keanu Reeves might be the brightest person in the world.
Oh, everybody knows that. Everyone, come on.
Come on.
No, come on. The guy.
So all Adam Wachowski just needs to do just say a few words, and in Keanu's head, this is the most amazing thing he's ever heard.
Yes. That's how it was.
I can't blame the man for this, though.
For Keanu, Lana just said a few big words about how this is this and that, and Keanu's like, "Oh my god, what an amazing!"
He said it himself. He said it was a very ambitious at the beginning. You guys remember that?
And have hope to link on to what you said. Remember what what's his name? Will Smith said. That's exactly how he was in 1998, 1999. He walked in there and they went and goes, yeah, let's do it. And that's how he became Neo. Will Smith said, nah, it doesn't make any sense. And that's why he wasn't Neo. So it's like, end of the day, Keanu Reeves is just one of those people where it's like, as you said, he fits the bill and he's useful and you put him in the right place at the right time, the right scenario. And yeah, the guy, the guy can do things, and maybe because he's so dumb, that's why he throws himself into stuff. Like, look at how well he does his martial arts.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like he tackles it like he's a kid. He just does it, So you end up like, wow, you're actually pretty good at the martial arts. It just, nobody planned it. It wasn't intended, but somehow you just stumbled upon being pretty good at it, because you just do it like a kid would do it. So for me, it's like, with this, I'm looking at like, look at his suit. Just look at him. Why are you so rubbish? Why do you look so rubbish?
I mean, this is just weird. See, and also you caught that line in this scene when the analyst says, "Oh, go ahead, remake the Matrix if you want. Paint the sky with rainbows." And the princess says, "Oh yeah, you know what? I think painting the sky with rainbows would be good." Do you know how on the nose that? I was like, Lana, come on, Lana, come on. I mean, at least try and. It's like, come on.
Sorry, and who said it would be good again? Who said?
No, Trinity says that. Oh yeah, I think I'll do that. I think that'll be good. Yeah, Trinity says that after Andy says that. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. You see, I mean, like for me, I'm like,
and also you saw the endings because so basically there's a band who has like a female front vocalist.
No, okay, we haven't got it. That is because you keep saying on the nose. That was just the final punctuation. Because for me, as I said,
was one of the worst covers I've ever heard.
Yeah, look,
that's all I have to say about that.
It's an emasculation project. And if you were ever in doubt, that final song should just to make sure that you don't pretend you don't know what's going on. That's what's going on. And I said that 2 weeks ago. That's just as I said, I couldn't believe it would be this obvious.
I mean, that's my shock. Like, it's literally in your face. Like, oh no, this is it. It's like there is no ifs and buts. This is it. I mean, it's.
And I actually do feel sorry for Carrie Moss because Carrie Moss, maybe there's a part of Carrie Moss that's probably thinking that I guess I just have to do this because
you have to. Absolutely.
Yeah, because for some reason Lana thinks I'm really important, so I should be doing this because she's in Carrie Moss's deepest thought. She knows that I wasn't that big a deal. Like, but how can she come out and say no when somebody wants to give you the whole kingdom? Because the reason that Lana Wachowski wants to give Carrie Moss the kingdom because it's got jack all to do with Carrie Moss. It's about power. Same as Kathleen Kennedy. She wanted that if I decided I'm going to make the designer of the Matrix gay, if I decided I'm going to make Smith gay, if I decided I'm going to make a woman the one, if I decided, and when you want to work out why I've done it, you're going to have to work out what it means to have changed. Ooh, it's called being a different person. I don't give a damn about that, Lana Wachowski. I don't care. If you're going to tell me that this is what it has to be, then fine. That's your prerogative. But what you've just done now is made sure now that for the rest of time you are irrelevant. So congratulations. Well, luckily for Keanu, he got John Wick, so he's doing his own thing. What Lana Wachowski has now officially done is she has rendered herself and her sister irrelevant. Because those guys are, we've seen Cloud Atlas, Jupiter Ascending, whatever you call it. These guys, this was the one thing you had, and you've blown it. You're done.
Yeah, like it's
And
over.
you've done it in such a way with that whole flying and Trinity that the one same thing with Star Wars. Once you do that to Luke, you're finished. Star Wars is dead. Once you do that to Neo, the Matrix is dead. You can't bring any new person back. You can't. It's finished. It doesn't mean anything anymore. There's nothing. There's no, because you might as well just make a new film that what does it mean? You can do action films that are just really cool. The Matrix as a concept, as a thing, has no, as Hafop was saying, okay, you can have, if it's going to be new, the only way, I believe the only way, I think I said it before, the only way you can make a new Matrix is you're going to have to account for Neo, which even Lana Wachowski understood with that whole Niobe exposition speech. The only thing I could have ever foreseen happen is that, as everybody thought, the Matrix is just a different level, but with Neo really was the one because he had something different, which was Trinity, and Trinity made him go into a different door. He went into the wrong door, which he had never gone into before, because something changed, because the anomaly was Trinity. And because he did that, my theory, my storyline would have gone something like Neo will never return, because his conception of the anomaly, his iteration dies with Trinity because he's gone into the wrong door. He would have been rebooted had he gone into the right door. When he goes into the left door, then what he does is he awakens the ability for them to go to the next tier of the Matrix. We don't know what that tier is. Maybe that is the final tier. It might just be tier 3 of tier 3000.
Wait, you said it allows them to go to the next tier of the Matrix?
The next tier, which and we don't know what it is. Because basically,
wait. Who is them? What do you mean? Who's them?
Human beings.
The human beings are going to the next tier of the Matrix.
Because they need to explain, first of all, he has stopped Sentinels in what we think is the real world.
Yes.
You cannot do that unless
you're
still
I see where you're going. Yeah.
So basically, exactly. So now he's doing now that he's now gone into the other place and he hasn't gone where he's supposed to go. This has now set off a new, and listen, I'm not going to write the whole story tonight now, but it sets up a whole chain of events where basically they're going to the next level of reality.
Man, it could have been so interesting, man.
Exactly.
What a shame.
And as Hafop said, what you'd be doing now is say what Neo did threatened the stability of the Matrix in a way that it had never been threatened before. So what they now did was they invented social media. They invented TikTok, Twitter, everything they could think of to block people's brains. So as Hafop was saying, the new war would be, how do you get people out of all this crazy social media, which has even embedded their brains deeper into the ADD, dumbed down, idiotic level of existence? And that is basically where they'd be as a result. So the next movie would be basically Neo is going to die. This Neo is still there, but he's never coming back. But because he's dying, he now basically transfers his code or whatever to somebody else, who therefore becomes the new one. And that person is trying to basically break into whatever the reality is. But the thing that will make it interesting now is that human beings now start asking the question that guy in Matrix 1 said, that the human beings, the machines make the world in a way that stabilizes us because we cannot handle utopia. So the new religion, according to Neo, so basically Neo's new religion is that you're never free. So it's almost like Neo almost becomes like a prophet when he dies in the Matrix 4. And maybe he imparts his code to some young girl or something, because it's got to be a new girl all this time, hasn't it? He imparts it, and the whole point of the part 4 is that the Matrix is trying to stop him from imparting new knowledge to this next one. And the most important knowledge he's going to impart to her through code is that never stop looking. Never ever believe you're free, which no human beings apply that.
Can I?
No, just real quick before you go, because because it's so frustrating, especially where Pete is going, because it's like you can make it so relevant. As relevant as the first Matrix was back in '99, a new one can be so relevant because what is everyone saying? Oh, you're always stuck on Twitter, you're always stuck on Instagram, Twitter, Instagram, Twitter, Instagram. And Twitter and Instagram, that is the prison holding you away from actually going out and actually living in the world. So the very theme of a new Matrix is people will always see
TikTok.
that it's TikTok. Why?
TikTok,
Because
basically.
my thing is that why would I want to give up TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter to go to a place where it's dark, there's no sun, it's cold? Oh, I'm free. Who cares? Who cares I'm free? Who cares if it's real? It's crap. So how do you convince that person to give up Twitter and an Instagram to live in the real world? How? And that is your dilemma. So,
But I'm saying, yeah, that's like for me. The most interesting thing would be, I would say, if Neo had a code, he had a special code within him and the principle of the code was that the one never accepts that they are the one and keeps pushing for the next iterate, the next level, the next level, the next level. But he can only import that as code because he's going to die. And if he imports that code, then the matrix is screwed because no matter how many levels they have, the ones are going to keep trying to penetrate it. And that is the only weakness they have, is that human beings are never looking for the next level because they believe they've already beaten the first level. If Neo could somehow transfer that ability or that requirement or that I don't know what the word is, perpetuity, whatever you want to call it, to the next one, then the matrix is going to be screwed. So the whole point of a part flow would be stopping that connection between Neo before he dies and whoever that next one is going to be.
Can I just say, look, what you just put on the table is infinitely better than what we saw in Matrix 4. But I am weary, especially when it comes to science fiction, where there is no stable foundation. You know, it's like Inception. Like, how many levels are there? I mean, I get that's the whole point of it, but it's, to me, I personally do not like those kinds of stories. I need solid ground to stand on.
No, but trust what
I don't need quicksand.
The most interesting thing about the Matrix is that whether you like it or not, that is what the Matrix is. How do you ever get to what the reality is? There has to be something in you that says, and you know that, and okay, put it this way, and this is the perfect way for me to explain it. When you get a program, you know, brute force programs that crack passwords.
Yep.
That's the principle. What Neo is going to impart is brute force capability. So it doesn't matter how many layers they try to create, the brute force and because it can do it over 1 second. But the whole purpose is Neo imparts. Basically, Neo becomes a prophet, and his prophecy is brute force hacking. That's it.
No, because see, my thing is that they messed up because at the end of Reloaded, that should have been the clue of, oh snap, Zan is another level of the Matrix. Because what the machines have done is giving human beings.
Guys, you've got to say that's a pretty good idea, though, isn't it?
They had it. They had it.
No. Of course, it's good, and it's a lot better than
actually, but half of. But just for the record, I doubt anybody could come up with a better concept for the Matrix than that. If Neo was going, come on, tell me. If you're saying that, if you're going to beat the Matrix, you're going to have to use brute force hacking like a password hacker, and that comes through as a philosophy that people actually pray to. That is that is the prayer to Neo as Neo the prophet, which is brute force hacking within the Matrix.
But see, even to your point though, because it is going to your point. At the end of Reloaded, when Neo stops the Sentinels in the real world, I was like, oh snap,
Well, that's the red
This is
flag.
another level of the Matrix.
Yeah.
So what the actor was saying is that we have it's the perfect form of control by giving you the idea that, oh, we've now come out of this matrix, this is not the real world. You will never question the real world. So what you do is you create a program that's a prison and another program that acts as the real world. So the issue is that, as Peter said, there are just these several levels because it goes with the theme. The theme is what is real. How do you know that this is real? How do you know Zion is real? What makes Zion different from the Matrix? How do you know Zion is real? You've just
exactly. Yes, how does a computer work? As a computer works, and this is what makes it so exciting and interesting. The computer now sees that he's in this level. Now they think this level is fake, so we need another level. They're breaking through. But once they break through, we've got this. They now think that's fake, so they're going to break through that. So we're going to quickly, before they break through it,
just goes on forever.
And because that's how computers work, this can happen over in 1 second. It can go through a million calculations to keep making levels that they can't get through. So they don't even need to plan it. That's just how it's built. It just keeps making infinite variations of higher levels of that shell, like almost like a Russian doll, layer. So therefore, you have this conflict. So your actual final battle, the final battle between the new one and the new Smith, can be literally the brute force, the embodiment of Neo's philosophy, which is brute force hacking, can now find is basically fighting that infinite shell, the infinite Russian doll, creating new layers, layer. And if it can ever outrun the speed at which it can create the new layer, they break free. It's all about speed. If the brute force hacking can accelerate beyond the Matrix ability to create a fake layer, they enter the real world. And that's a philosophy. Fantastic story. Pap. I'm chosen one. I know chosen one likes good stories. That's a cracking story, chosen one.
It is very good, but like I said, it's just a personal preference of mine where I want to wake up from the dream at some point. That's just me. I
think like the ending of Matrix 1 was probably like the best way they could have ended it.
In terms of what, though?
Well, just what he said, like the finality of it. Neo becomes the one. He becomes aware. He tells everybody what's going on. People get freed.
No, but my thing though is that, like, this is what I've always said. When I watched The Matrix, I was like, okay, well, this is cool and everything, but I didn't really get it. The first one was okay, I know this is good and everything, but I'm like, I don't really get it. Then I had to watch Reloaded. Then it was watching Reloaded that made me appreciate Matrix. And I was like, oh, geez, this is what's happening. But I'm like in the minority, and I think maybe Peter as well, that Reloaded was important because for me, Matrix isn't enough. I'm like, yeah, this guy just flew. Now what? Like, it's not enough to me. Like, oh, that's the ending, and no, this guy just literally flew. It's just
that is just starting. Basically, like I fully believe that the Matrix has an ending, and I believe that the ending, for me, is the story I just put on the table, because there's only one theory that everybody has. There's another layer of reality. There's another layer. Everybody had the same. Everybody thought that was going to happen in revolutions.
Yeah, Matrix within a Matrix.
So therefore, the question is, okay, how do we break? So to chosen one who says, oh, he likes the ending. How do you break that? You're always going to wind up in the same place because there's only one way the story goes. It's another fake Matrix. It's not a fake Matrix, and it's a computer. It's going to keep making fake matrices. So you could actually have one character who is called the ultimate architect. And he's the one who just keeps infinitely creating new ones, new layers. And then Neo, because he's dying, the prophecy is that he has the philosophy of brute force hacking, and it's gonna come through, it's gonna be embodied in a single anomaly. And that anomaly is what is gonna ultimately fight the ultimate architect. And can the anomaly accelerate quicker than the ultimate architect can make fake matrices? If they can, you break free. That's the only way.
But what's break free? Break free into what?
Into the actual real world.
The actual real world.
And
the actual real world.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just trying to walk through this. And what does the actual real world look like?
We don't know. I don't know. And chosen one. The ultimate ending is like the Truman Show. We never see what it looks like.
Yeah. Like the person, you just awake and then boom, it just goes to black.
That's it.
Now you're there. No, because see, for me, like that ending of Revolutions is a piece of crap. Like, oh, there was a truce and there's peace. No. If you want to continue the theme, what is the theme of the Matrix of the first film? What is real? How do you define real? That is the theme of the Matrix. So to carry on that theme of what is real is you questioning reality and you trying to wake up from this dream and now trying to wake up into this. So the whole thing of the Matrix, whether it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, is all in search of the real world. We're trying to break out of the ultimate prison. It's like the ultimate prison with the main aim of we're trying to really gain free and actually get into this real world that is hidden under several levels of these constructs,
I mean,
I feel like
that would have been one of the endings of the century if Revolutions actually ended like that, man.
Or like how as a Matrix.
Basically, half of that literally, people will actually not accept to die as humans until they put out a potful. If they did that in 2003,
no. If they brought out an ending where like these, or basically you see them celebrate, it's a pieces of celebration, and then the camera just pans, and you were like in Zion, and you basically just see like a green code just come up in Zion.
Or if somehow they're all celebrating, but then it pans and they're just like one screen of many different screens. And and there's somebody just sitting down watching them, all different celebrations in different variations. Boom. And then I'm telling you, people will not die in life until they bring out Matrix 4.
Yeah, no, but that is how it should have ended. It's like this is like sorry, the moment you saw Neo stop those things in the real world, I was like, oh yeah. And also, even when you look at the beginning of Revolutions, when you see the golden code go into the green code, it's like, oh yeah, like this is obviously a different level. And obviously Neo being the anomaly, he's obviously cracked mentally, psychologically that I've now cracked that this is fake, this isn't real, this is another level. So
or it could be something like remember Flash Gordon at the beginning where they're saying, I do like to play with when you talk about Earth, what's this Earth? Or like basically, like if like they sort of showed them, the the Oracle and the architect, and when they're sitting and see that rainbow, and when they have the conversation, and then they're just on one screen, then it pans out, and there are many different screens of different people celebrating, and then there's somebody sitting there, and they say some line like "stability achieved" or something like that, just to ram it home. Boom, that's it.
Yeah, because once that happens, it's like this is an ending, but you're like, no, now what? but the ending makes sense because the ending connects with what this entire Matrix thing has been about, which is what is real. Because it's run home so well because Morpheus just told you what is real, how do you define real? But once you went to the real world, we didn't carry on what Morpheus told us that. Why don't we question when we're in the real world? We just don't question it.
I'm just looking at this picture. I'm just looking at this picture. See. And I think
it's a difference. There's a difference.
I'm looking at it. I'm thinking about Luke, and I just say myself, see, people, it's very simple. It is literally about there's a concerted effort against, you might call it the white wasp, the white Anglo-Saxon male Protestant guy. That person is like, you want to look at that image you just had of him flying, and you want to destroy it. Yeah. You look at the image of Luke at the end of Last Jedi when he's coming to celebrate with Han and whatever you call it, and you just want to destroy that. There's something about you that you want that concept destroyed. And I'm like, that's fair game, man. But for me, I'm like, in this world, there has to be...
But real quick, sorry. Let me ask you guys then, do you think it was bad story-wise, and then they reloaded that he wasn't the one, and Morpheus's whole thing, like that was all that's them telling Morpheus that this is all a system of control, which pretty much renders Morpheus useless.
Sorry, what?
You know, at the end of Reloaded, Neo says that the whole concept of the one was never meant to end anything. It was all another system of control. So everything that Morpheus believed in, that, oh, I will find the one and the one will free all of us, that was all machine system of control. Like, do you think it was a good story thing of, because once that was told to Morpheus, it's made Morpheus pretty much useless. Because his entire life was find the one ends everything.
Yeah, but then you had revolutions that said he was the one.
No. Like, as in the one is supposed to end the war. Yeah, you're still at the anomaly, but you're not there to end the war.
But,
so Morpheus
wait, are you talking about resurrections or reloaded?
Reloaded.
Yeah, well, here's the question: why would you trust anything the architect tells you?
No, but things that see, no, but
I get what
Morpheus,
Go ahead.
No, but Morpheus is. It doesn't matter whatever you want to call it, which is kind of what Niobe said in Resurrections. Morpheus found Neo, and look at what Neo did. You can call it the one, you can call it la la la. It doesn't matter whatever you want to call it. Morpheus found Neo.
Right.
Neo is the guy that did what he did in this, and that's why everybody is where. So basically, in my story, which ends with this brute force hacking, everything starts with Morpheus because he has to find Neo. Neo has to fall in love with Trinity. Neo has to walk in the left-hand door. He has to put everything. Still comes back to Morpheus.
Well. I actually mean the right door.
Okay, whichever door he went into.
Okay, well, but I will tell you, it depends where you're setting. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because he went to his left.
He went to his right, to the architect's left.
Either way.
Sorry. Yeah, he went to his left. He went to Neo's left.
Okay, fine, but I'm sure it'll be fine whichever way. Basically, point is he went to a particular door. Whichever way he went, he only went there because he was a guy who Morpheus found, who fell in love with Trinity. So Trinity was important, Morpheus was important, Neo was important. And Neo is a guy who actually discovers, he's the guy who, in my fantasy story, he conceives of the philosophy of brute force hacking, which is the only thing that can outrun the ultimate architect. Boom, boom,
which
boom.
was basically like stop the reboot. Like that reboot means that we can't get past all the, like, it's the key thing that we have to now cut away from these levels.
Yeah, no, but it's like basically, if you could just like visualize it, it's just an infinite layer of a cake being added on and a bullet trying to get out of the cake. As a bullet's trying to get out of the cake keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Can that bullet accelerate beyond as faster than that cake can keep making new layers? And that can be sort of visualized as a final fight. That'll be the final fight in Matrix 6, where it's the ultimate architect against the embodiment of Neo's philosophy, and the fight replicates that race to break beyond its ability to keep recreating. So you can actually imagine some fight that during the fight, as they're fighting, their background keeps on changing because they're doing the same thing but in a different layer. So they're on a hill, they're on a mountain, they're in a train, they're in ancient Greece, they're in Japan. They're because the architect is actually consistently trying to create a new level and as he loses, they get quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. Yeah. And when he dies, black. And maybe he goes like, well, you wanted the real world, I hope you're ready for it. And you never see it.
Crazy, man. It could have turned out so differently, man.
It could have, man. It could have.
For me, this is the end of the road. I said, like I'm in retirement now. That's why I've shared these theories and these ideas and the concepts, because I think that I have nothing more to say. So I thought I might as well just share these ideas, chuck them out there, because I'm down my trajectory now. You know, this has gone nothing to it, man. All these guys, you've done your Star Wars, you've ruined everything. Good for you. You know, I'm out.
No, but I have to just say though that this might be one of the worst scenes in a film that I've seen in a long time. Like it's almost as if like this was a parody. This scene in particular. I mean, it's
It's very worrying, very, 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 very unsettling. It's
wait, how does that song go? Bugsy Malone. No, because what's it called? There's a thread on Reddit that's what's it called? Bugs appreciation thread.
so boring, so predictable. Like they're saying, "Oh, how can you look at that and say she's the breakout? She's rubbish. She's rubbish."
It's nonsense.
I mean, this is the breakout stuff. I mean, basically, we live in a world where everybody is trying to write the story. Everybody's trying to write the narrative. Oh, this is the new this. This is the great new. Oh, this is the new this. It's like you cannot. That's what. Like everybody's the celebrity. You can't, and that's the mistake that people are being taught. And that's why I'm just so happy that you're seeing. Look, you're seeing West Side Story is completely bombed. Like basically mission complete. Hollywood mission complete. You've completely dumbed down the young kid. The young kid doesn't know their left from their right. And the older generation, once they cannot get out during COVID to cover your ass, you see the reality. Because that's all that's happened. The older generation cannot get out to cover their asses of people so they don't make it as bad as it looks. Now you can see that the new generation coming forward, these guys are dumb as hell. Like they don't know what West Side Story means. They don't know what Last Duel means. They don't know what Dune means. All they know is it's about give me 9 Spider-Man. That's it. Like, this movie is on 1.1 billion.
No. I mean, no. Like the Spider-Man thing is. I think. Look, basically, my thing is. Look, give it the Oscar. Who cares? Just give it the Oscar for best.
Give them the Oscar, man. Give them the Oscar.
Who cares? Who cares now? Because my thing is like. That's Spider-Man. Look, Spider-Man is a film where this guy, you fight a villain from a film that came out like 8 years ago, and the crux of the film is there are 3 Spider-Men in it. Because for me, like when people say, "Oh no, it's an amazing film," guys, just think about what you're saying about this. It needs to be best picture. Realize that in this film, you're fighting villain. You fight about 5 or 6, 7 villains, and the selling points of this film is that there are 3 Spider-Men in this film. So
Like,
it's typically why I'm baffled.
Has Sony and Marvel stopped to think that that we can't stop this? Like, what are you going to do next?
No, because that's what we're in a very strange place now, because if you look at what Amy Pascal looks like, just you know what? Let me because you have to.
Look, she's crazy. She's crazy. We all know she's crazy.
Yeah, because you have to just look at. Like, I don't want to be like okay.
Isn't it slightly curious that she's always smiling?
Basically, you see, for this.
Well, she's running the show, so because you can say what you want. But,
Basically, this is the one who made Venom, and Venom let there be carnage. Like this is. So my thing is, like, when you look at Spider-Man, like, you see, Matrix Resurrections is a horrible. It's a bad film. Spider-Man No Way Home is not a film. That's the thing. It is not a film. It's a thing. It's a
do
thing.
You know how much? Do you know how much Spielberg wants us to talk now? Do you know how much?
Wait, what's going to say? You were offered something. You said no.
West Side Story.
You were offered that was Star Wars. You said no. Why? What do you want to say?
That's the whole point. The guy he's caught because this guy is seething. Do you know this is his passion project? The amount of work this guy put in. This movie has catastrophically bombed and blown out. And just a week later, Spider-Man has made 30 to 40 times what he made in 7-8 days.
So, first of all, it's a pandemic. So, in a pandemic, you want kids, because obviously older people are going to be more worried about going to cinemas. Kids don't give a damn. So, in a pandemic, you think kids are going to go and watch a musical?
But have a,
What?
what makes it even crazier is it's one thing for your movie not to do well. But have you seen the numbers for West Side Story? These numbers are worse than the last deal. They're worse than the last deal. So it's like basically Spielberg wants to come out and say what Ridley Scott has said, what Scorsese has said, what Monsieur Denis has said, what Coppola has said, but he can't. And that is why the guy, he's in turmoil. Because this guy wants to talk.
Look, for me, I think that Marvel,
Wow.
for the time being, is here to stay, because for me, I thought Spider-Man in a pandemic 800 tops. To make a, my thing is that
I'm
what
shocked.
would this
I'm
have
shocked.
made? What's it?
No, I'm shocked.
Oh no! See, what would this have made if not we're not in a pandemic? See, my thing with this is that this is the ultimate money maker, because what I've always said is that Spider-Man is the most popular comic book character. He always has been.
Yeah.
Because every young child will always gravitate towards Spider-Man because he looks the coolest.
Yeah.
Batman is like, Superman is like, okay. Spider-Man, every child that comes through, you will always be attracted to Spider-Man because he just looks cool. And he's young, he's exciting, he's dynamic, his powers are dynamic. He will always attract. So every child every time I walk in the streets, I'm always seeing a kid with a Spider-Man bag, Spider-Man this, Spider-Man. They always have something to Spider-Man, so he would always appeal to those young kids. Always.
Tom Holland himself was Spider-Man when he was younger.
Yeah.
so you know.
So the thing is that it was the ultimate money maker, because what it was that not only is it Spider-Man, which everyone is still going to go and see, you're bringing in Tobey Maguire, and you're bringing in Tom Holland. So you're bringing in Andrew Garfield.
But the beauty about Spider-Man's money is that Matrix, you're in the same game. You're in the same game. Nobody is expecting you to be making the same money as this, but you should be in the 800s.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so because your game is exactly, you should be appealing to 20-year-olds.
No, I mean,
you should appeal to 16-year-olds.
Like, basically, even if you're releasing it on HBO Max day and day, if you make a proper Matrix film with a proper story and proper action, people are going to IMAX to go and watch it.
Of course,
I would have gone.
Yeah. Because no, like, yes, I know it's on HBO Max, but if this is, because it's the Matrix, you're going to IMAX, you're paying full $1 in IMAX to go and watch a Matrix 4, a proper Matrix film.
Oh, sorry, I can just say something about the daftness of Hollywood. Okay, look at this cost. Look at this costume we're looking at now.
This no. Wait. Please. When you basically, there's a shot where when you see all three of them. Yeah. How is a costume in 2021 worse than a costume from 2002?
Bingo.
It's like the costume, because first of all, I already knew it was trash, but when you now see it up against a costume from 2002 and a costume from 2012.
And half up to confirm everything that you just said. And look, I've said it from, like, we all know that Tobey Maguire had the best costume. Now, but the thing is that they know, because it's all fake. These guys are all fake. This isn't really Spider-Man. It's all fake. That isn't Thor. Chris Hemsworth isn't Thor. That isn't Hulk. This is all fake. Which is why in the last 12 years, the comic book industry hasn't changed. They're just as poor, as destitute as they ever were. How can Marvel movies be making so much money and the comic book industry has actually declined? Now, why? Look at this costume. And do you know what they now do? What do they do in the post-credits? Have you seen the post-credit scene of the costume that Tom Holland is now meant to have in?
Oh, yeah.
So they actually know. Basically, once they've now actually had a film where they've actually now been reminded of what quality is, these idiots are now going to revert a man back to a costume that he should have had in part one. See, that is basically, it's a complete and total mess. It's just
all fake, man.
It's so fake. And things that the fans, they're just going to accept it because they're so stupid. It's going to be, oh, it's a new, okay, that's okay, right then, okay, right.
No, but see, this is the issue with Marvel.
Oh my God. I mean,
damn.
It's
like, look at the spider.
I mean, it's incredible.
The issue with Marvel is basically this issue with Marvel. The issue with basically that thing in the middle. I can buy that thing from down the road.
That's what I'm saying. Look how bad the spider looks.
And Infinity's Limit, to go back to the point you made about that thing on his chest, you see, when you're branding Spider-Man, like with Batman, you're always thinking like Tim Burton. The first thing you think of is the emblem, because you know you're going to brand with the emblem. You see, but when you're Chris Nolan and you're a fool, you don't really care about the emblem because you're not thinking about Batman. You're thinking about it's the Dark Knight and I'm Chris Nolan. When you think about Spider-Man, you're thinking about Tony Stark, Marvel, Sony, Marvel, because you can't use that emblem on his chest on a poster because it's crap. It doesn't mean anything. Look at the emblem on the right-hand side. They use that to promote part 1, to promote part 2, to promote Venom, because you look at the actual emblem and it is actually very nice. It's evocative. That thing in the middle, you put that on a poster, it looks like crap. It looks like total crap. It looks like a piece of Lego.
And you see, because look. I mean, obviously, I don't know. I mean, we may have a few 20 minutes because we need to touch very briefly on Batman, very briefly, because especially the local thing. But my thing is, this is the problem with Marvel and what they don't understand. It's good for now. 30 years from now, imagine if you just say, "Hey, watch No Way Home," and you're watching, you're like, "Wait, what is this? Who is this guy that's coming? Wait, what is this stuff?" You'll be confused because Marvel, you don't make films. These are episodes that rely on the previous film. Infinity War is garbage because you can't watch, because Infinity War literally starts like as if you've seen the previous episode where Thanos is basically like eating like pandemia and making soup like
I was shocked.
People. So because Thanos doesn't even get introduced because they're like, we're not making a film. This is just the next episode of MCU. So these things in 30, 40 years' time will be redundant because it's a money-making scheme. And the money-making scheme is that this is the next episode, and the next episode, and the next episode. And you can't watch this unless you watch this 200 other things. I would never watch Captain Marvel. But in Infinity War, I was confused because like, what the hell is going on here? Because I'm never going to watch Captain Marvel, but I said, no, you have to watch Captain Marvel to understand this stuff. Well, I don't, because I'm never watching that, and I was confused because like, wait, who is this? Where does this come from? Because I've not watched Captain Marvel. So
to this day, I still haven't seen that film.
Look, and I never will. No, wait, look, so because on talking about costumes, wait, where's this whole thing, man? There we go.
That was some image, man.
Talking about costume, man. So look, see, here's the thing, man. Batman. You see, I wish I could just get Matt Reeves and just say, you know what, look, let's talk. You cannot make a Batman film with a trash outfit. I'm sorry. I'll repeat again. You cannot make a Batman film if the outfit is not amazing. It doesn't work. Because my thing is, that is when you're in the game of making this comic book stuff, that is the most important aspect. Because when you look at this, you know what time it is. Like when you look at this image, you know what time it is. So I don't know what Mr. Marines doing because like you it's almost like unfair. It's like a cheat code. You can literally make the most amazing film, amazing story and everything, but if the guy looks like this, I'm sorry, you can't walk like this. You can't. You know, you can't. And even to our dear friend here, because now look at this clown to the right. Hold up. Look at this clown to the right. It's a mess. Like, so it doesn't matter what you do in your film and so forth. If the main hero is that guy to the right, your film can't work. It can't work. I mean, guys, look at this. What is this?
I mean, no, it's
This
very,
is a
very,
geezer
very
in
worrying.
outfits.
Very worrying, very, very worrying. So it's
Yeah, it's let me see. It's a geezer in an outfit. And my thing is this: is I see people have not, guys. Just pause for a second and look at the guy to the right, because we just assume and assume and assume. But okay, I know it's Batman. He's there. It's Joker. But just pause for a minute and just pause and just look at the guy to the right. Something is wrong here. You know, something is wrong here. Like, he looks stupid. Like, the guy to the right looks stupid.
half of but see, for me, the scariest thing for me, as I said with the whole Matrix Resurrections, that why has the world not changed? It's, you know, the thing that always scares me, I tell Chosen One this in all our conversations about Val, is that it's the people. I know it's stupid, you know it's stupid, everyone here knows it. But the people, they see this costume you're playing out, and it's like, guys, the man doesn't fit the costume. His helmet looks like a World War I helmet. The guy, every time you see him, he looks like he's constipated. The guy, he's always trembling. Like,
the cowl is shaking. The cowl shakes.
Yes, like they've spent so much time trying to make him so intense that they've wound up with a guy that looks like he's emotionally, he needs to be sectioned, under sectioned. Something like he looks like this guy is emotionally the guy is a mess. He doesn't know whether he's leapt, he's moving, he's walking, he's running, he's shouting, he's screaming, he
doesn't embrace the suit.
He doesn't no, like this, the guy doesn't know what he's doing because he's spending so much time trying to be so crazy. And I mean, look,
he should be more comfortable in the Batman costume than anything else. That's his identity. I don't know. I never felt Pattinson was the right choice. He doesn't have that thing, man.
No, it's let me just show you this thing very quickly, because I've shown you these before, and you've obviously seen this one, you know, and this is one that I just stumbled on.
Theft.
Yeah, I've showed you that, we've seen that, we know this. It's the same thing, trying to show the what you call it, his the ledge where it's come from. He does the same thing in this thing, but obviously this is the reverse angle. But when he jumps over, you see that, oh, so that's where it's the same psychology, same thing. I've showed you this. It's a carbon copy, color correction, everything. Then this is something else, because
at least you can see him fight, though. At least you can see the guy.
Yeah, but it's the same imagery and everything. Now, I was watching this movie the other day, and this just popped into my brain. I said, okay, because I've showed you the Interceptor, haven't I? I've sent Half-Hawk that picture. I've sent it on the Facebook thing of the motorcycle, the Interceptor from Mad Max and the Batmobile from Reeves. This is something else I saw from Mad Max 1. If anybody recalls this.
Oh shit.
Wow. Damn. So this guy's just basically.
So, you know, when I went to about the Goon Gang, I know what I'm talking about. And I know what these guys do. Even in this last trailer, there's a part where the music he's playing is the same as Hans Zimmer. There's a point where they actually break into the same chords as the Batman thing. And you see, when I think about Reeves and Abrams, my body goes cold, because these guys, they really are gangsters. Like, that's what people don't, because they look so cute and they sound so sweet. And when you hear Matt Reeves talk, it sounds like he's a little pigeon. These guys are creative gangsters. And they're running around and they're copying stuff, rehashing it, reconfiguring it, chucking it out. These guys are blazing through stuff and they're ruining everything. And they're collecting money. But the beauty is that, has anybody heard from Abrams? You know, that's but at the point when he was doing Dinner for Five, J.J. Abrams was known as the most prolific guy in Hollywood. Since J.J. Abrams did Force Awakens, he has made 2 films in the last 6-7 years. 2 films. Nobody has heard from him. And word on the street, and I do, obviously everyone does the research. I do my research. It's all done. Him, Spielberg, Lucas, Miller, Kennedy, Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy, that whole marriage, that whole bunch of Zemeckis, it's all done since Star Wars. So it's over. Like through Star Wars, it's all done. And I think Abrams has spent the last couple of years realizing that through his idiocy and greed, look what he's actually gone and done. It's over. And these are relationships that have been forged over 30 years. Done. And that's behind the scenes. Basically, nobody's friends anymore. Put it to you that way. And that is behind why Spielberg drops out of Indiana Jones. Obviously, they'll give you an official story, but trust me, that's what's going on there. Because Lucas is out as of that's why he never turned up to that premiere for the Force Rise of Skywalker. And after that, Spielberg's dropped out of whatever you call it. So, and the only reason that Harrison Ford is doing it is that same ego thing. He wants to believe that it's not about Spielberg, it's about him.
I mean, I know it's like you're really going to make an Indiana Jones without Steven Spielberg,
and not even with James Mangold.
I mean,
good luck, mate.
Good luck. Have you do you know what Indiana Jones is? That's like one of Spielberg's best pieces of work. Spielberg, that's one of the first film got nominated for Best Picture in the 80s. So it's like James Mangold, even you yourself should be like, why am I even doing this? But people will say, because it's Harrison Ford, he's back. I'm like, look, man, guys, man, I think it's done, man.
Half hope, Infinity Limit, Chosen One. You know, guys, I'll tell you that. The reason why I've been so open tonight is because genuinely it's the end of the year. We're coming up to the new year, and I'm out. Like you'll hear from me. I've spoken to Half Hope. Me and Chosen One have discussed stuff that potential stuff and stuff like that. Like for me, that's why I always believed in Talkback. That's to believe that there should be more collaborations in Talkback, and people should start thinking. Because for me, you'll hear from me creatively. Like I think what Lana Wachowski has now done is close the lid. It's the end of the year. We've talked for so many years, and that's why it's good to log these things down. Christmas carols, Dark Knight things, everything. That it's over now. Chosen One has done some incredible things. We've seen his Power Rangers stuff. So which I was very impressed by. So it's like for me, I'm like, guys, it's over, man. I'm out. Like I don't have any time for any of this stuff anymore. Like this is why Matt Reeves, I'm interested in laughing at it. Like I see it as it's trash. it's complete and total trash. Like I just look at it, I just want to laugh at it.
I'm not going to take what I can from it. I'll take what I can.
There's nothing to take because I've never seen a Batman start. That every Batman, it always starts there's something there. Even with George Clooney. George Clooney, everybody admits he looks like Batman.
He's from the comics.
Like with Val Kilmer, they came out with Kiss from a Rose. You hold me, thrill me, kiss me from you too. It had a very stylistic Joel Schumacher thing. They had that thing. Every project comes with some kind of bang. This guy, you're bringing out something that Batman looks like crap. His suit looks like crap. He's behaving like crap. When he's Bruce Wayne, he looks like a hobo in a jacket that's too big for him. Everything looks like crap. I've never seen this before. But then again, you look at Matrix, you look at it's a sign of the times. It's a sign of the times. So,
yep.
People right now need to just know that, at our ages now, there's no time for any of this rubbish anymore. People like in Talkback should be proactive. I mean, it is good that we've gone through this phase because it's very important to know who you are, who the soldiers are, what the philosophies are. Very important. You know what you're dealing with. But this is very much definitely for me, anyway, at the end of this year, end of this decade, basically. It's, the game is up, man. You're looking at this image I'm looking at now. It's a joke. I mean, on one level, you can laugh, but creatively, artistically, historically, this is very, very scary. Because when the time where a man is delivering this, it's horrific stuff. And you're in a world that basically it's like the Matrix. People can't even see what's happening. You got Michael Keaton. Apparently, he's going to be in another thing. You bring that.
He's going to be everywhere. He's going to be in everything.
Yes, and he's like, I'm 70 now. Why not?
Yeah,
like,
why not?
Where is the integrity? What does that mean? The word integrity has no meaning today. It has no meaning. And now comic books are now like the $1 million thing. Everybody's Benedict Cumberbatch, a man who's going to be nominated for Power of the Dog. Look, man, amazing, absolutely amazing. So for me, I'm just like, you know what, guys, I'm out, man. It's been nice knowing you. I'm out.
Any final words, Infinite?
I think Phantom said it all. I mean, it's the end. Matrix was the last one. If Matrix can fail, there's nothing left, really. It's the end.
What's it called? Chosen One. Any final words?
I will just repeat what POH said to me almost, I'd say, over 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
In a talk. And he pretty much said it again tonight. Is put your money where your mouth is. Time. No more talk. I think it's time for guys to do.
No, but let me just say that I'm an idiot because Chosen One he took it there. I've spent in my defense, I spent the last decade in preparation. I actually only got professional about 10 years ago. So that's my defense. But really, there ain't no excuses anymore. Mm-hmm. Chosen One can because that guy, Chosen One, you put your money where your mouth is, and I saw it. For me, I have my excuse, but still, when you see Lana Wachowski get up, you see, Infinity Slayer even said, okay, if Matrix can fail. Matrix didn't fail. See, Revolution failed. This was an assassination job. this wasn't where, they were trying to do something and they aimed so high and they failed. No, Lana Wachowski went home, she prepared, she got her guns, she did the intel, get everything, and she said, I'm taking Matrix down. And she did it incredibly efficiently, like only she could. When we're living in that kind of a world, that's a dangerous world to live in. When we're living in a world that Spielberg is so compromised, Spielberg cannot be the shining light that comes out and makes a superhero movie or makes a sci-fi movie or makes Robopocalypse that takes all these guys down. All Spielberg has to do is make Robopocalypse. That's it. That's all he has to do. But the guy, he's so corrupted, he can't do that. When this is what Spielberg is today, when I live in a world where George Lucas is so compromised, he can't speak out. He's already sold his own creation. When Lana Wachowski is coming out to kill Matrix, guys, the game is up.
The jig is up, man. Jig is up. The jig is up. I mean, no, look, I think the key thing to look, if you know, if you want, as the saying goes, if you want something done, you've got to do it yourself. Like, even when you look at Dune, man. Even when you look at Dune, yeah, you do the visuals, but like, there's nothing. There's nothing. So it's like, which is why, in a way, I almost like Resurrections. I like how it went down. because Revolutions was like, oh, Resurrection, like it is such a blunt beat down. It's like, yes, like this. It's almost like saying that F off, go do it yourself because this right here is done. And it is done in the biggest way possible. So it's almost like it's a rhyme because you now see that theme park ride called No Way Home getting $1 billion.
Scorsese.
And Resurrection. Now because people say that's No Way Home, guys. That's a theme park. That is not a film.
Scorsese
That's a theme park.
So, yeah. And what is so crazy that did you read what Tom Holland came out and said about Scorsese?
It's like Tom Holland. What,
okay, have I meant to see? This is why I just smile because like there are people there. There are people like Kevin Feige. There are people like because remember what Robert Downey Jr. said when they asked him about Scorsese. He says, "Hey man, it's Scorsese." You see, Tom Holland. Do you understand what Scorsese? See, and this is why. And the world has made sure a guy of his age doesn't. Because, hey, Tom, let me explain to you who Scorsese is. That same movie that you are saying that Scorsese shouldn't talk about because Scorsese hasn't made one before. In the world I lived in and I grew up in and I'm in, I know that there are people called Spielberg and Scorsese and Coppola. And the reason why we call them these people is because this same movie that you claim he doesn't know about, ask him to make one and give him 1 month to learn about the things you think he doesn't know about. And let him make Spider-Man 5 or Spider-Man 4. The movie he will make you slit your own throat. That's what it means when you're a master, which Tom doesn't understand.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
Scorsese doesn't need to know about anything. He doesn't need to know about anything.
Like it's like, hold on. What are you saying? That you're saying that how people are making Infinity War is the same way you're making Raging Bull.
Have you
seen what Infinity War is?
The key is that Tom Holland is opening his mouth. As Robert Downey Jr. said, it doesn't matter what he says. It's Scorsese.
Yeah. But then Junior is from a whole different.
It's from a whole different. That is what people have lost today. That they don't understand the concept of elders and juniors of history. They don't understand the concept of it, and that's why they make the rubbish they make, and they go to the rubbish they go to, because they don't get it. But the thing is that these guys are all going to get old, and when Tom Holland gets old, Tom Holland is going to have nothing.
Oh no! He already has nothing. Like once Spider-Man runs through, like that Uncharted film is going to bomb.
No. But I'm not talking about his generation. Like when his generation grows old, do you know what his generation are going to be watching? They're going to be watching Marty McFly and Michael J. Fox.
Oh yeah. No, that's why Marvel, your films, they can't last. Because see, the only Marvel films that can last are the Captain America films and maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, which can sort of exist in and of themselves. But everything else, it's all parts of this pie. So in 30 years' time, you can still watch Back to the Future, you can still watch Indiana Jones, you can still watch RoboCop.
How
are you watching far away from home?
Here's the thing, like, you see, the only thing I would say is maybe, and I do mean maybe, Guardians of the Galaxy. As much as I hate James Gunn and the guys are sick, pedo, whatever you call it, because for me, I can't even put Captain America in there, because when you look at Robert Zemeckis said it perfectly. Back to the Future is a classic. It can't, like, when you make classics are like a good meal and nourishment. When you can keep watching Back to the Future 1 and you're rediscovering things you never thought you saw. You can watch Goonies and rediscover things. There are so many layers. When a guy like Richard Donner is making a film, there's so many layers to it. And we don't realize it when we're kids. You don't realize it as you're growing up. That when you're like, oh my, do you know how complex this film is? Do you know how many things are going on between Marty McFly and his dad in Back to the Future 1 that has got nothing to do with sci-fi. It's like this stuff does not exist today. So you can't
it doesn't.
like this stuff does not exist in Captain America. That stuff that Captain America is on the yes, it's good, but it's on the nose. It's just boom, and just by the sheer nature of how well Chris Evans did, it's good. And part 2 is a great action film, but there's nothing there qualitatively. The only thing is, okay, maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, because James Gunn is basically from that time, he has tapped into, that's why he's casting Kurt Russell and he's casting Stallone. He's tapped into the psychology of how guys were making those 80s films. That's why he's got the mixtape, because he's tapping into it. So you do have a kind of depth and layer to Guardians of the Galaxy. But that's it. That is it. These guys,
I mean, it's like saying like we're not getting a Back to the Future for a very long time, especially when Marvel now rules. You're not getting a film like this anytime soon, because films, if you want to watch a film, you have to go onto streaming or something. But like Kevin Feige is going to rule for at least the next 5, 6, 7 years.
Have hope. In the 80s, was there any singer who would be on stage, and as the singer was singing, people are dying and people are being crushed to death, and they go and tell the singer on stage that people are dying, and the singer keeps on singing, and then the singer goes onto TikTok and does a half cockamamie, oh, I'm just so devastated, man, and the singer is one of the biggest people in the world. You see, that wasn't the world that created this image you're showing. That's why you can't, it's not about, oh, for any time soon. It can't return because the world has gone on a different trajectory. The world we live in is like beasts. It's like beasts. Which is why when I see this stuff, I'm genuinely scared. When I see resurrection, and I see all the stuff you said that people are saying online and how they said, oh, it's a human being is telling you that a grown person went out to make a bad film to get back at people, a studio that gave them money. Like, listen to yourself.
And basically, it's like, if that's where we're at right now, then there's no hope.
I said, when the world, basically, that is a world where every human being thinks that they have the power. They will tell you what is reality. They will tell you what is good. That's because we live in a world without a Michael Jackson. But we live in a world where Spielberg is quiet. The people who are meant to remind us that we don't get to say what the deal is, this is what educates us, those people are quiet.
Because that's why I'm waiting for Avatar 2. That's why I'm waiting.
Look, man, half hope, infinities, man. Let me tell you something honestly, why I'm scared, because everything hangs on Avatar. like I'm just like, and the reason what's scared is that blue people. See, it's almost like, okay, everything hangs on this new warrior, but the warrior is going to use Teletubbies to fight the war. Like, you're using blue people in the forest. If this man was coming back with Terminator 5, 6, and 7, I'm like, okay, the game is done. Like, it's almost like a bit like I said with Robert Pattinson, and when I said a year ago that it doesn't matter how hard he tries, he just can't. Like, if this guy brings out the most incredible film, it's blue people in the forest.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like your building blocks are screwed.
I mean, basically, all it will be is an experience.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is amazing.
There's no meat and potatoes to it, man. So
you cannot. What you need something that can grab people by the balls today, and your themes,
which is new.
Yeah, your theme is wrong. Your theme is wrong, and I think he knows it's wrong, but he doesn't care because it's his fantasy.
Yeah. No, because the other issue, like, this was the perfect time for Matrix to return.
Oh my! Listen, man,
perfect time.
These guys would have eaten it up
easily. No, because Matrix is that is what can take down Marvel, because there's so many guys that are like, man, they want that kind of thing back. Yeah. Because see, Villeneuve could have done it, but Villeneuve is mad. He's useless. He's an artist without a brain.
No, the
Yeah.
guy's a fool. He's a fool. He's a fool.
Well,
He had an
well,
opportunity, but he missed.
Yeah, so but Matrix. This is because the thing with Matrix is that, and the scary thing about Matrix is that it's even more relevant now than it was in
And it
1990.
never was that it ever was.
It's more relevant now. Like the kind of thing that you could say is like, yeah, unplug your bro. What is the word that everybody now uses? Too woke. Like the way that we have been living in the past few years, this is the perfect thing for the Matrix, more so than any other property.
People literally plug into TikTok.
Yeah,
I've met people that have said, "Oh, you know what? I'm addicted to TikTok."
Yeah,
I don't know why. I just watch it. They just watch all these. And when you go on TikTok or you go on Snapchat and you see have you seen those 30-second? When you watch Snapchat, of course your brain is going to be crap. You can go on Snapchat, and Snapchat has like 80 billion videos, and each video is like 10 seconds long of complete. You know that I get mesmerized because I might talk to somebody on Snapchat, then a video will come up, and I get hooked because there's some video of like people just popping their zits, and it's the most deranged thing that, and I have to admit, I keep on clicking because I'm so mesmerized.
yeah.
And then afterwards, I just stop and go, wait, what am I doing? You know, but it's like, listen, if I was a kid, I'd be screwed. I would be completely screwed. I mean, look at this, man.
That's crazy. That's
like,
crazy.
I feel like this is and like, and just the saddest thing is like what Charles says. You don't realize Matrix, which is why I've said like, of course, Star Wars is so popular. Matrix for me is the most valuable property ever created.
Yes,
it is the most, because as good as Star Wars is, it's still sci-fi fantasy. Matrix, you're creating something that has philosophy, sci-fi, action, and with the way that the world is going, is more relevant than any other property because of what
basically Matrix the two things that predicted the world we're in is Terminator and the Matrix. And and this is why what pains me the most is that if Cameron stuck to Terminator, he'd be in the groove. He'd be in the groove because it ain't quite the Matrix, but what you talked about in Terminator is exactly what is happening now. Exactly what is happening now. And if your story now was all about the future war, I mean, it's all your tech plugs so easily in. You know, you have to force your tech to be relevant to trees and grass and the rainforest.
But I think that's why, like, you know, the whole Sophia Stewart, who she claims that she created the Matrix and Terminator.
Sorry, what?
That's but you've not heard the story of this black woman writer who says that she says that she won the case of plagiarism from her stories of the Terminator and Matrix came
Sorry,
from
how old is she?
Oh, I don't know. She must be like in her 60s or something. But she's been fighting for years. It was even for many. Basically, if you just type in Sophia Stewart, you'll read all the stuff about it.
Oh, well, listen, if you say she actually won the case, then wow. I mean, what can I say, you know?
No, but the thing is, it's very murky and everything. So it's like, look, it's one of those things that I did. Did she not? So it's, but just that it's funny how both of those things overlap, Matrix and Terminator.
Oh, okay, exactly. Okay, thank you. There you go. And I had no idea about that. I'm just like spitballing. But my thing is that when you look at those two things were the things that they predicted how the world is going. And James Cameron had, and that's the beauty of the world. You had this. It's almost like it's too simple. It's too easy. Do you know how complicated Avatar is?
Yeah,
it's so like, okay, but Terminator is damn simple. The machines took over the world.
Yeah, I think it's as simple as man versus machine and technology.
It is so incredibly simple and sweet and beautiful and fantastic. And James Cameron,
it's like London, like no one cares about Neo and Trinity. That was just at the backdrop. What the story was about unplugging the machines.
As Chosen One said, Chosen One said it. As far as Romantis goes, this was actually rubbish. It was actually crap. It wasn't even done. It wasn't even done well.
No,
It wasn't even done well. So like, what? As I said, look,
what are you doing?
Lana Wachowski, I hope she's happy, and I hope she can explain it to her sister when they have a conversation, because she has officially ended them in life. In their professional lives, they are finished.
No, because apparently they said like, oh, the rumors were saying, oh, they'll make a Matrix 5 if Lana wants to.
Oh,
I don't know how you look at it.
No, please go ahead and do it.
Oh my god.
You know, that's basically if they made a Matrix. Okay, listen, Halfo, suppose if they made a Matrix that's in part 5 that was as good as Matrix 1. Would that actually matter?
I mean, because then like I'm confused.
It doesn't.
Then
It
I'm
doesn't
confused.
like,
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, what? So where are we now?
Like I talked to the Merc whatever. If Spielberg came out now and made a Star Wars that was fantastic, it doesn't mean anything. Your franchise is symbiotic. It's symbiotic between the mythology and between the actual actuality. If you ruin the mythology, you're just making a film. What makes these franchises great is because they've combined that people now believe in it. You believe in it, you buy into it, and then you augment that belief by creating extraordinary art. Extraordinary art that you amp it up, you amp it up, you amp it up. But by the time a guy is watching Matrix Reloaded, they're not expecting you to sort of reignite their beliefs. They want you to build on their beliefs. But if you now destroy their beliefs, you're going to build it back up again? You can't. Like with me, you can never build me back up to Star Wars again. It's never going to happen. You can only make a good film. And I'll be like, oh, wow, that was really good. I'm not a believer anymore. I don't believe in it. There are people now who they do not believe in the Matrix anymore.
No.
So you can go and make a good film and they may watch it, but they don't believe in it anymore. They're not going to be your disciples. They're not going to be your heralds who go and tell their kids, tell their younger cousins, tell their friends. No, they'll just watch it and go home. That's what it means when you destroy the mythology. Yeah, you can try to make money, you can make films, but you've destroyed the most important, the most lucrative part of any franchise is your mythology. That's what these idiots don't understand. The most same as Terminator. You think you're going to screw with John Connor and you're going to have a franchise? Really? Listen, like John Connor, Neo, Luke. You think you can kill all these guys, emasculate them, and you still can make money? That's because you don't understand the mythology. You don't understand that your real money comes from the mythology. When you screw with that, you better hope you're making Godfathers every day. And how many times can you make a Godfather? How many times can you make a Matrix 1? That's 1 in a million. Star Wars: A New Hope is 1 in a million.
Well, so we're in a world where Star Wars is finished, Matrix is finished.
Yes.
Like they're literally like both of those franchises are literally done.
Yeah.
And you've pretty much just expunged, extinguished, and just pissed and just shat all over both of the fans.
Yeah.
And all are left are just the psycho fanboys of the franchise who will accept anything.
Yeah. So basically, people on this call and others have to be very quiet, go home, go behind the scenes, and start working very hard.
All right, guys. Look, man, I think I'm gonna call it a night, man. So yeah, man. This was a good old 2.5 hour shindig. Any final words from guys before we bye bye?
Nope, I don't have anything.
Good
Sure.
talk. Good
Yeah,
talk.
good talk.
Good talk.
My final words to all of you will be: let me stop and think for a minute.
Oh, I thought your final words were silence.
No.
I think you were going to or something.
No. I do want to. I the most thing I can say to you is that fate. It is fate. It is written in the stars, my friends.
My final word is this character. My rank as one of the most disgusting characters I've ever seen in a film. That's those are what's this character here like is going to give me nightmares for a long time. Will give me nightmares for a long time.
Welcome to the crib. Welcome to the crib.
Wait, hold on. Is he chosen one? I wanted to get the hell out of here. Now, you know that this guy was at a point he was like dancing.
Yep.
And shaking
with the martini.
And did you see how he was punched? First of all, his doja outfit was too big for him, so it was actually baggy. And did you see how he was punching? I was like, basically, Lana was asking, like, are you mad? Like, for Lana, like, who in their right mind is going to give you any money to make another film?
Yep.
Who? Guys, look, let's let me. Okay, guys. Peace out, guys. Subscribe,
Peace.